Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1256A, and today's date is April 17th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Trump Just Turned the Tables on the Fed. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. Yesterday, Sunday, I placed an interview on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. The interview is with Steve St. Angelo from SRS Rocco Report. All you have to do is go to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight, it'll bring you right to the video, or you can come over to the X22Report.com site, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, you can play it right on the site, or you can go to NewsSentinel.com, same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, and you can play it right on the site. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are starting to see the economy rapidly change around the world in the U.S., and things are breaking down very, very quickly. Out in England, we see the London home market. Well, they suffered the biggest crack in years. Home prices plunged the most in 6 years, according to Rightmove. Asking prices in London dropped 4.3% in December, with inner London down 6%. And the most exclusive neighborhoods, like Kensington and Chelsea, recorded even a sharper decline at nearly 10%. Well, we can see that things are starting to change rapidly, and prices are coming down, traffic is drying up, and things are not going as planned, because what is happening is the economy, not just here in the United States, but around the world, it's starting to implode. The housing market that's been pumped up through foreign investments, free money, it's all coming to an end. And it's going to rapidly fall apart. Actually, according to the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, the price balance for the city fell to the lowest since February of 2009, plunging to minus 49, which means that a greater percentage of agents reported drops in March. So we can see right now that things are rapidly changing. And as we can see, retail is changing, housing is changing, GDP is dropping, corporate defaults are on the rise, and corporations are still laying off. Boeing's VP John Hamilton announced that the company will lay off hundreds of engineers as soon as this week. Layoffs are going to start April 21st. So people are going to get their pink slips and they're going to be out of a job. We see Homebuilder confidence. Well, it has dipped in April. After reaching this 12-year high in March, homebuilders, their confidence, well, it's slowly declining. Why? Why all of a sudden is it declining? Because before they were telling us that everything felt great to them, even though mortgage applications were declining, prices were coming down, foot traffic to homes was also declining, sales were lagging, but they felt very positive. Construction spending was down. Well, we can see that all of it is starting to happen, and they're looking at the entire situation and they're saying, I don't feel confident anymore. Now, all four underlying components dropped in April, with future sales expectations back near post-election lows. Current and future sales indices dropped, and did prospective buyer traffic. So it is all dropping. It is all declining right now. All the soft data that we've been seeing, well, throw that out the window. It's garbage. The hard data is showing us what's really happening here. When we look at the Empire Fed Manufacturing Survey, well, it has tumbled most since May of 2016 in April. Now, the soft data was telling us that things were looking great. The hard data, well, that is showing us something completely opposite. And we need to understand that right now, many people believe that Trump has moved to the dark side. He's controlled by the deep state, and they are basically using him as a puppet. Now, maybe that's true. Maybe he is a puppet right now. But I'm seeing more and more evidence of what he's actually doing. I don't care what he's saying right now, because a lot of things that I'm listening to on the corporate media, a lot of things that I'm hearing and what he is saying, it sounds like it's all an act to go along with the deep state. And you have to remember, this whole thing where he became president and he was going to go in there and change everything, just by writing some executive orders, changing this, doing this, well, maybe in his own company that works. Corporations, he's the boss, he tells people what to do, and they just do it. The government is run by, wait a minute, the deep state. They're in control. The central bank is in control. Is he going to just move in and tell people what to do, and they're just going to listen? Well, we can tell that plan didn't work. It didn't work at all. The corporate media was not with him. The central bank was not with him. The deep state was not with him. They were against him. And if you really thought that he was going to go in there and just do it, just bring back the jobs and all the manufacturing while having this system in place, well, that was never going to work. So what is he doing? He's playing a game. He needs to get down to their level. He's a smart guy. I mean, everyone's like, oh, he turned and now we're angry with him. You know what? Be angry. And I'm not saying he's the best guy in the world, he's a savior, or anything like that whatsoever. I'm looking at what he's actually doing. For example, when he was campaigning, what did he do? He basically called out the Fed for zero interest rate policy. He explained how the Fed's zero interest rate policy hurt responsible savers who now receive next to nothing from deposit accounts. And you might remember a few weeks ago, the Wall Street Journal published an estimate of how much this policy has cost savers. The article tallied the cost to savers at $1 trillion. That's the money savers could have earned from deposits, padding retirement accounts, and flowing it back into the economy. But because the interest rates were so low, this didn't happen. So the Fed has begun to prepare investors for higher interest rates. Remember, they raised the rate in 2015 in December, again in 2016 in December, and they're raising it again they did in February of 2017, and they're going to raise it again. And the Fed said, wow, okay, Trump said low interest rates aren't good. Let's start raising the interest rates. Now, we looked at what they did in other periods of time, where the Fed raised the interest rates and it crashed the economy. So they're going along with Trump saying, okay, let's do what he's saying. Let's do exactly what he said during his campaign. We will start raising the interest rates. And this way, we can blame it all on him. What a fool he is. So the Fed, the central bank, they started raising interest rates. And it was going along with what Trump has said. Now Trump came out and he said something completely different. Remember, he said the Fed's low interest rate, that policy was a complete disaster. But last week, Trump turned the tables on Yellen. Trump made it clear that higher interest rates and the recent strength in the U.S. dollar was bad for the U.S. economy. He just tricked the Fed. Now remember, we've said this for quite a while. The central bank does not want to be blamed for this collapse. They were setting it up for Trump to take the blame because during his campaign, he was telling everyone about the low interest rates, how it was a disaster. So the Fed said, okay, we'll start raising the interest rates. We're doing what you tell us to do here. We're following along in your economic policies. Now Trump did a 180, turned the tables on Yellen and said, you know what? I looked at it. It's the opposite. The low interest rates were good, and the strong dollar, not so good. We need to lower the dollar. Well, the Fed already started raising interest rates. He just turned everything around to be blamed on the Fed. That's exactly what he just did right now, because he understands that this economy right now cannot exist the way it is. The jobs he's been talking about, the manufacturing facilities, all of this cannot come back to the United States. We cannot reset the system if the central bank is in charge, if the deep state is in charge, and if the system is run the way it is. It's impossible. So how do you change things like this? Can you just come out and tell them that you need them changed? No. How does the deep state work to trick the American people? Remember when you were sleeping at this point in time and you couldn't believe that the deep state would do these things, the government wouldn't do these things, they were always working for the people, and you find out that they're actually not working for the people, that they're the ones who created war, they're the ones who are doing all of this? Remember that? And you were angry, you were pissed off? Well, here we are once again. Keep your mind open. Your mind is like a parachute. If it is not open, it's not going to work. He just can't come out and write executive orders He just can't come out and say this is the way it's going to be done. It doesn't work. This is not his business. He's not the boss. Yes, he's the president, but he's not the boss. He needs to get down and dirty and play the game. This is the only way he can change things. And this is what he's doing. Now, people might not like this. People might hate him for it. But a true leader, like I said before, doesn't care. A true leader will do it for the people. Now, it looks like he's moving in this direction. It looks like this is what he's doing. What we need to do is we need to watch further on what he does. Because he needs to pretend, just like the deep state, just like the central bank. He needs to get them on his side. I mean, think about a chess player. Does a chess player just come out and say, hey, you know what? I'm going after your queen, and these are my moves I'm going to make. Just watch me do it. Here, checkmate, check. Checkmate. No. They use strategy. They play the game. They bring them in, making them feel like they're going to win. And before they know it, a good chess player has them. There's no way out. It's checkmate. If you watch Putin, this is what he does. And Trump, he's following the same type of strategy. He's playing the game, bringing them in. And before you know it, it will be checkmate. Because this is the way it has to be done. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.